Hi, I'm Ayodele Andrew from Dominica. I'm particular to making carnival costumes. I grew up in a home with two parents who were very artistically inclined. Actually, my dad paints and did music, and my mom was in theater. So we were encouraged growing up to have just creative liberty as much as we wanted to and supported by our parents. The first costume I made was in primary school. I think I was in grade five, and our school was doing nursery rhymes, and I think I was in the section with was Little Miss Muffet, and we had to do the spider's web and the spider, and I distinctly remember working on that with my father and just going through bending the wire to make the web and putting on the color because it had to be Dominica theme, Little Miss Muffet. So we used bits of there was a bit of some sensei in there for the skirt that she had on, and in the bowl, instead of eating curds and whey, it was dried coconut and banana raisins and those sorts of things. So very old and very interested and just fascinated by the carnival experience, and people being able to wear what you want. Like, I enjoyed Come As You Like going to school, so being able to portray and tell your story about yourself however you want that to be, that really was what got me interested into going into costume making for carnival. Well, I have a team, but generally most of the costumes that we do recently here is for we've done costumes for the pageant and then specialized if somebody wants an individual costume. So most times for the pageants, the contestant has a theme, and then we would discuss what that theme is and then come up with a concept, a story for the portrayal of that. And so that makes it interesting because you almost never know what the contestant is going to what the theme is going to be. And so to come up with a design that works in their theme and tells the story that fits in with their whole presentation. So there's a lot to garner from Dominican culture and what we have, and there are things that are, intrinsically Dominican that we can pull from, and even personal experiences, and also from the contestants themselves, how they feel, what they would be comfortable as well being. And so pulling that together as a team, we would first work out the concept and the story that goes with the costume. And then in terms of the build and the construction, we would look at what materials we would use to really showcase that story. And also, I mean, it has to be glamorous, it has to be wow on stage. So that's the process that we would go through. Well, I'll go back a little bit here because for the type of costumes that we build now, I have to give credit where it's due. My experience and my interest in that developed when I worked with one of our Caribbean laureates, Mr. Adrian Oje in Saint Lucia. So a lot of the inspiration for just even being a part of Carnival and producing costumes for Carnival comes very much from who we are, like Dominica, our unique culture, and that our carnival cultural experience that we offer, which is our traditional mass, our old mass, which is not something you will find at the other Caribbean carnivals. And that takes it to an almost spiritual level for me. And then sometimes when people hear spiritual and carnival, they may not connect it, but going back to our ancestors and post-slavery. And I do research about the sensei and the band movie and Susel Sylvia and how these things came about. And there was a time to be in the band movie, you had to at least be 5'10" as a man. You had to be fit as a man to be, and it was just male only for the sensei and the band movie. And you had to stay in character the entire time. And there's stories the from the during the time of colonization, before we were independent, stories of tourists who come and they were entranced looking at the performance of a band movie or a sensei on the street. And there is power in that. There's a story in that, and that is what really pulls me in. So every costume that we work on, I also got, what is the story? What are you pulling the viewer into? What experience? So transitioning them from just looking on and experiencing and almost feeling like they're part of it. That's the goal. Well, it depends on the type of costume. We do personal costumes if somebody want an individual costume, so that will be customized to that person's story and what they would want to portray, and maybe a part of themselves, maybe something they admire, something that they're longing to be or to do, and we can do that as well. So, well, yeah, we in our design and production, we actually do not use a lot of feathers. We try our best to use our materials creatively. So we can have the look of feathers, but we can create it with various materials. And we also look at what do we have locally that we can, convert to have the same impact as feathers, that full flare, but there are other materials locally that we can use to do that, and that we can color them. Even the materials that we use for the sensei, like the bags, it's a similar concept. We have like the vetiver, gives you a full look like feathers, and you can color it and have that impact. And then we have that regular like elephant grass. There are various options of materials that can be used to create the look, and of course fabrics, and creating textures. And not all costumes have to be bright like bright colors to be impactful. We've done some darker costumes. So it comes down to the whole picture, and also the lighting. You look at what it would look like on stage, and then in the sunlight on the road. And at one time of the costume can have a different story that it presents because of the light. So I really would love to see Dominica's culture of costume building persist, especially with our traditional costumes. And it's something I really want to get into, exploring, more of making our traditional costume. And also to bring back things like our king and queen of the bands, and have that be something that people are thrilled and excited about. So I am working with my team. We are looking to propose to the cultural division to host workshops on costume building, from concept to finish. And then hopefully at the end of that, we can actually have a king and queen of the band competition that is an event on the Carnival calendar, that we have a show, as we have the Miss Dominica pageant or the Calypso show. We do have king and queen of the band competition with, major costume that tells the Dominica story. I'm Ayodele Andrew from Dominica, and this is my Carnival story.